Hello everyone, welcome to OBN Voice of the People. This is our weekly program, Talk to OBN, whereby you find some of influential personalities in the country and elsewhere in the world. In our today's guest, we have a guest, an investor and a businessman from Canada, and we're going to talk about the business opportunities and other challenges and issues in the country. Stay tuned. Sir, thank you for joining us. And first, to begin with, can you introduce yourself and greet my audience?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. And it's really a pleasure to be here today. Oh, my name is Nejib Ababiya. I'm born in Jimma. Grew up, I went to a boarding school in Addis, General Wingate. And then from there, I joined the revolution with Galasa and all those people. And finally, I escaped to Djibouti, lived there for a while, and then went to Canada and established, went back again to business school, and got into a corporate world in Canada. I worked for Toshiba Canada as a vice president, and then from there, ran my own business, and now I'm here. And also, it's a very sad day that I'm here because I lost my good compatriot, a comrade that we fought hand in hand for years during the Oromo uprising back in the 70s and 60s and 80s. And I heard that he passed away through Galasa, Dilbo. It's a sad day, not only for me, for a lot of Oromo revolutionaries of the 70s and 60s and 80s, and for those who have been with him through thin and thick of the Oromo struggle in Harar, Wullega, Jimma, everywhere. So my condolences to all of them and to his family. I guess his family is the Oromo people anyways, so. I want to express that and then get into the business of your questions.
I see.
Yeah.
In what investment areas are you engaged in Ethiopia?
Okay, I came to Ethiopia some 15 years ago. I've been working in the mineral area, mining, and power generation, mainly. These are all massive transformational projects. And naturally, being a Canadian means in Canada, it's very easy to raise money for this type of projects, mega projects. And so my focus is on gold, potash, and then geothermal power generation.
Just in addition to this, and in what kinds of investments, would you like to take on Ethiopia?
Well, in Ethiopia, look, Ethiopia is a land of opportunity. Ethiopia, there is a huge demand for everything. You can build anything and sell right away with a good profit. But you have to have certain focuses on certain areas and look at your competitive advantage. My competitive advantage is that I have access to capital and, have a strong skill for myself, and also I have a pool of talents in North America that I can tap to, who I can recruit to come and work here. Right now, I'm working with French, Icelandic people, and Canadians, and Americans, in different capacity, working with me for the last 15 years or 16 years. Yeah.
I see. And
so for me, and actually I'm contemplating some other project. Sorry, I'm contemplating some other projects, but the projects that I have right now in my hand are massive. Very big. And also, some of these projects are very hard to get in. So unless you have deep pocket, not your own, but you have a credibility and you are trustworthy and people can raise money. So this type of projects are, to me, of big interest than most of the stuff that is available. There are so many businesses available in Ethiopia, and there are so many opportunities from the smallest business that you can open with $1,000 to $1 billion project. $10 billion projects are available. It's all your imagination. Okay, and anyone who is coming in could create wealth for himself and for the society. Yeah.
I see. And what led you to opt for this investment opportunity in the country? What inspired you the most?
You know, when I first came to Ethiopia, I looked around. First, I didn't really want to work in Ethiopia at the time. I've completely forgotten about Ethiopia. I was investing, I had my own business and investing in different areas of the, globally, in Brazil, in West Africa. And Ethiopia never, came to my mind as an investment destination. I was reluctant. But I came here to visit, to visit Ethiopia with my mother, and I met some big officials at the time through a friend, and they suggested that I should come and work in Ethiopia. And, in fact, the then president, Ababiya, was very insistent, very passionate. He said, you should come here, we should work together, all kind of stuff. I said, sure, let me think about it, but I'll come back. So one of the things, the first thing that I saw is that Ethiopia with 1.2 million square kilometer land did not have a single mining company other than Midrock Gold, the one in Adola. To me, that was very interesting. Well, there got to be something wrong. So I asked the minister, what do you have? Why is this and that? So they didn't have anything, no answer, no data. So I put my eyes on that one, on the mining sector. There should be plenty of gold, there should be plenty of opportunities in this space, but there was no exploration, there's no data. Maybe that was what happened. So I discussed with the minister, Minister Al-Mayo, a great guy, and I suggested that he gives me a year and a half exclusive right to do an exploration in all the land that is not occupied. No land was occupied at the time, except for the Midrock, I'm telling you, and a little bit in the northern Tigray by the Izana group. So I took all that land, and in return I promised him that I will do airborne geophysics in thousands of kilometers, and I said, I'll give you the data. Then you will promote, using this data, you will promote Ethiopia. I'll help you, in the promotion. So we did that after a year or something. I submitted the data, they compiled it, I compiled it and gave them some. Then I started to really market Ethiopia. The image was also very bad at the time, Ethiopia's image in 2006. 2006. The image was very bad, for whatever reason. I'm sure you know why. So we started to promote Ethiopia as an investment destination, an area that's not explored, that's not exploited, blah, blah. We started to promote in London, Toronto, Vancouver, New York. So then I started to get attention, and I raised money for my company while promoting Ethiopia, and then companies start to flow into Ethiopia, and I start to get all kind of questions about Ethiopia. The airborne was a very good, it showed a very good result for gold in the west, in the north, in the south, in Oromia especially. So I worked in that space for, I'm still working in that space quite, on the potash, on gold. I've been investing money, but you see, most of these projects are not, you know, they're not quick, you know, they're not for quick profits. It's not for people who are, you know, trying to get quickly rich. This is for people who are imaginative and people who want to create wealth for the country and for themselves in perpetuity. Once you build a gold mine, you know, you're sitting there collecting money for 30 years. Lots of money. If you're doing petroleum, it's the same thing. However, this is not I'm not talking about primary gold or primary mining, a small mining, artisan mining. I'm talking about big ones. So these ones require patience and lots of money and a good nerve and imagination.
Mm-hmm. I understood that even you have been working on promoting opportunities in the country, you know, beside investing in the country, though.
Of course, you know, it is, there is enlightened interest in doing this. I'm doing this to promote my company, first and foremost. And when you do that, you have to promote the country. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest risks is, you know, when investors are asking is there a political risk in the country? Is the geology good? Is bureaucracy okay? Is there corruption? Is there crime in the country? So if all these are wrong, then even my investors will trust me and put money in my company. At the same time, others will look at me and say, hey, if this guy is doing this, maybe we can go do something. And what he's telling us is real. You know what? I tell you only something that I'm very much sure of. I won't bullshit anyone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see. How could this investment area address communities' demand?
Well, you know, again, look, this is, if you are looking, for example, in mining companies, they, as I said, it will take a long time to find. You know, you have to invest $50, $60 million on exploration, and then some additional 20, 30 million on development, and years of, you know, continuous work. Once you get that right, and if you start extracting gold, for example, you know, you pay royalty to the government, and to the area, for the area you build, you know, hospitals, schools, and you hire and employ kids from that, from the neighborhood, and the government also will have, you know, corporate tax and royalty and income tax from employees. And using these things, the government also, you know, injects capital into the economy, which will create wealth again in the country. So in most cases, it works quite well. Because, look, basically you have a rock that you're not using for any reason. So now somebody comes here, invests $100 million, $200 million, turns that into gold for you. This is a bonus, right? Now the government of Ethiopia has identified, you know, mining as one of the key sectors to be developed. When I started, Ambo, mining, the then, you know, government officials, and no disrespect, and, you know, I spoke with a number of big people at the time, they say this is a gamble. Why are you wasting your time? Guys, it's not a gamble. It's a rock. It's not your money. We're putting the money in. When we put the money, you should say, thank you very much. Go and do it. Because that's a rock. And no one is going to use it. It's not a land for farmland. You understand? Mm-hmm. So their understanding was a little bit, you know, a little bit weird, so to speak. But now I think the new government understands the value of it, of mining in the country, and the country is promoting itself as a good destination of mining.
Mm-hmm. So has anything changed, you know, regarding the awareness of the government officials?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, look, when the government designates it as a 10%, you know, identifies mining to contribute 10%, that is a big shift. in the past it was, no. You know, it's a gamble. Kumar, no. That's what they say. And, you know, and so they deny you support. But now, I think it's really cool. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah, shift in paradigm of the way they think.
I see. How many people have got job opportunities, or just how many people get job opportunities from your investment? Because unemployment has been a big challenge in the country.
Well, as I told you, I have several companies. Some have been closed. Again, you know, I don't want to go into the history of what happened to me or to my company, but you know, at some point, for example, I had over 1,500 people working on my potash company in Afar. Okay, it's Olana Potash, and unfortunately, you know, the working condition was extremely difficult at the time in the country, and there was a major harassment on my company, and I eventually sold the company to one of the biggest manufacturer of fertilizers and potash, ICL, and that company was chased out of the country. And they abandoned the $1.5 billion project money they were going to put into it. But that has never been stated, why they left, what happened to them. But history will one day, you know, expose that. But, you know, so that is, and then in different places, you know, I have 200 people, 300 people, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So you are working, I mean, in tackling unemployment rate in the country then?
Well, you know, listen, it's again, I mean, I'm not here to reduce your unemployment, but I'm here to invest and create wealth and make some return on my money.
Yeah, while investing, you...
That's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, mining, we have a lot of people working. Yeah. In the geothermal, we have, you know, about 200 people now working in RC zone, and we are training a lot of people as well, young guys, you know, giving them vocational training, 40 of them, I think, and put them in a college, in a dormitory, and train them, and then in certain areas we have ceased to work because of the conflict. My potash company has, you know, only local few people working in the, you know, just maintaining the camp. We used to have about, you know, almost 500 people in Afar, near Eritrea. And then, you know, also in Tigray, the camp is looted, so we don't know what's going on.
I see. I do understand that as you have brought it abroad to the country, new kind of investment in the country, especially in technology transfer in geothermal and other stuff. And how do you find that?
Well, it's pretty exciting. First of all, you see, geothermal, Ambo, is highly capital intensive and is high risk. And so I'm very proud to tell you that I'm the first guy who envisioned this resource and this power generation sector, the geothermal. And at the time, again, you know, the government people say, you're wasting your time, your money, whatever. But here I am. You know, I started in 2009 and start to promote it and put my own money into it, and a lot of people start to come to talk to me. 2010, 2011, so I brought partners on board, and now that project, you know, we signed a heads of term in New York at the presence of the then Prime Minister, Ato Hailemariam. And then the second time we signed when in the presence of President Obama in 2016. We finally concluded the agreement in 2019, March of 2019, after the new government came in. That was the final agreement of PPA and IA. So, it's a long process. Number one, it's a high risk, as I said to you. It's high risk, and it requires patience, and it's capital intensive. But, once you get it right, if you get it right, then you're set. So this thing, the geothermal, we are so lucky to have a huge resource that could produce thousands megawatt. And it is an excellent addition to Ethiopia's, power mix. Geothermal is sustainable, it's clean, perhaps the cleanest of the clean energies, and also it is renewable. On top of that, it is carbon zero carbon, doesn't emit any carbon, and also fundamentally for Ethiopia, it's a base load. What you mean by base load is that it doesn't fluctuate. Like hydro fluctuates, wind fluctuates. Wind, you need the wind for wind power. For solar, you need sun. For hydro, you need rain. And so, but for this one, is sustainable. It's just, the steam comes up and it goes down to the other tube. It goes and hits the turbine, and then the remaining goes back down to the Earth's crest. Again, it's a circular thing. So it's an excellent, it's an excellent source of energy for Ethiopia, and I'm sure Ethiopia will benefit a great deal once we get through this. Again, starting is the biggest, the toughest thing. There is no geothermal law in Ethiopia at the time when I started, and no one seems to care about it. So thanks to the then Prime Minister, Haile Mariam, who said, look, this is too big to fail. And he really promoted it within the government, at the parliament. Then the others start to accept it and work with us. But it took us 7 years to negotiate the terms. 7. Typically it is 3 years, but 7, so we're okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can see how timely and important investments is here, because like climate change has been, global problem, and since there is no carbon emission, and this is a great investment that we encourage in the country.
It is one of the most beautiful source of energy, and good for climate, and we could get also carbon credits in the future as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see. What message you like to forward to the Ethiopian diaspora community so as to invest in their homeland?
Well, a lot of Ethiopian diasporas are keen to come and invest. If the government addresses some of the issues, it's not so much the policy issues. The policy could be excellent, but the people that are implementing it are not that good. I'm sorry to say this. You can have a bad law and good people, you can run the country with good people. But if you have an excellent law but bad people, it will be very challenging. But I still encourage diasporas to come and invest, because unless you fight hard for your country and with your people, you cannot change it. If you want to be an agent of change, you have to come here and make effort, and after a while you'll succeed. And you got to keep trying and trying until you fail. It's not that much different in the West as well. In the West, the dynamics could be a little different. Yes, you'll not find the corruption that you hear in Canada. I won't find that. But the resources are not as available as it is in Ethiopia. With small capital, you can start some good business here. In Canada, or if you want Canada or the United States, you have to be very, very, very competent, skill-wise, connection-wise, and capital-wise. And the resources are also limited in a lot of areas.
What challenges you have faced so far, and how did you fix them and move on?
This is something that the Prime Minister talks every day about. The same thing. It's no secret. Bureaucracy doesn't move fast enough. But I've been very fortunate. My projects are flagship projects, whether it is they're all multi-billion-dollar projects. So the government recognizes them. So I get some support, or they understand it's just too important to fail, as the former Prime Minister said, too big to fail, too important to fail. So because of that, I get the support, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see. Finally, if you have anything to address, you're welcome.
No, I mean, in terms of investment, there are other areas that people should look at in Ethiopia. As I said, this is a land that is literally a virgin. If you're talking about mining, there's nothing, you have not scratched the top of the earth. If you're talking about, a pharmaceutical, manufacturing, and you can literally manufacture anything here and people will buy from you. You can build any house, people will buy from you, wherever you are. And so if you want to go into real estate, if you want to go into pharmaceutical, if you want to go into iron, to make some cameras, whatever, you could do it. It's no big deal. There are also so many people that you can recruit from abroad if you want to work as your partners, hire them and bring them here. From the West, there are a lot of people who are looking for exotic places like Ethiopia, to go and enjoy. So provided that there is peace in the country and the security is good, I think people will come. And the foreigners, and not the foreigners, the diaspora should also come instead of, complaining or whatnot. It's good to come and join the club here.
Thank you for joining us and for your vivid explanations.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, I hope you have learned a lot from our discussion. Ethiopia is a land of opportunity, and we encourage you to come and invest in your homeland. Thank you for listening.